Monster Melee! Demogorgon! Versus Orcus.
What would happen if the two most powerful demon lords in D&D fought each other? It's a very plausible scenario. In today's episode of Monster Melee, Demogorgon, the Prince of Demons, goes up against Orcus, the Prince of Undeath. They're going to enter a brutal struggle to defeat one another. For today's battle arena, we have the Scornhold Underpit. Some of you have maybe seen this one before. It is taken, as usual, from my Patreon. That is Esper the Bard on patreon.com. Link is in the video description. Go check that out to support the channel and get yourself some fantastic monthly rewards. And as always, I am your game master and commentator, Esper. So let's take a look at today's competitors. First up, we have Demogorgon, the Prince of Demons. He is a huge fiend with the demon subtype, obviously, and of course a chaotic evil alignment, an epic challenge rating of 26. His armor class is 22, he has 464 hit points, a land speed of 50, and a swimming speed also of 50 feet. He has a slew of different strengths, a high armor class, high hit points. He has good saves, except for int, it's kind of so-so. He has true sight, a number of resistances and immunities, including resistance to cold, fire, and lightning, immunity to poison, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing that's non-magical, and he's also immune to the charmed, exhaustion, frightened, and poisoned conditions. As well, he has magic resistance and 3 per day legendary resistances, those sweet legendary resistances. He has 2 heads, kind of like what we saw with the Ettins. He has a magic gaze that can stun, confuse, or dominate, like charm, plus he controls the charmed creature's actions. He has spellcasting spells like Feeble Mind, Dispel Magic, Fear, Telekinesis, and legendary actions which can allow him to use an extra gaze to either stun or confuse, or to make an additional tail attack. He does have some weaknesses though. In my estimation, these are weaknesses. At CR 26, he should have some kind of flight or teleportation. It is a bit odd that Demogorgon just walks everywhere or swims everywhere. A number of creatures, or player characters for that matter, can outdo him in mobility. He has no ranged attack. I find that very odd. His gaze is at a range. It's got a range of like 120 feet, so that's pretty good, but he can't actually make any attack at a range as is, other than improvising, throwing rocks or some such. He also has no AoEs. He has no area of effect, so he's always just targeting single targets. And I would say his damage is somewhat low. For CR 26, I would expect his damage to be higher. All right, now we go over to Orcus, the Prince of the Undead. Also a huge fiend, a demon with the chaotic evil alignment, and a challenge rating of an incredible 26. His armor class is 20. Has 405 hit points, a speed of 40 on land and 40 flying. He also has a host of different strengths, also has good saves across the board, except for int, which is just so-so. He has true sight. He also has a number of resistances and immunities. He's resistant to cold, fire, and lightning. He is immune to necrotic, poison, and non-magical bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. He's also immune to the conditions charmed, exhaustion, frightened, and poisoned. Also, like Demogorgon, he has magic resistance and 3 per day legendary resistances. He has spellcasting, including Time Stop, Dispel Magic, Animate Dead, and Create Undead, Power Word Kill, Circle of Death, and Finger of Death. Some of those spells are coming from his artifact, the Wand of Orcus, which is an incredible artifact. If you're not familiar, in D&D, artifact actually doesn't mean just some relic from the past. It actually is the most powerful and rarest category of magic items. So the Wand of Orcus is a very powerful melee weapon. It gives him some of those fantastic spells. It also increases his AC, that's factored into the 20. And the wand gives him an amazing once per day Conjure Undead, where he can conjure up to 500 hit points worth of whatever undead creatures he decides. Did I mention he also has legendary actions? He can make an attack with his tail or his necrotic bolt, or he can use Creeping Death, in which he makes this big cylinder of swirling necrotic energy, or negative energy rather, which anyone who's in that has vulnerability to necrotic damage. That's double the damage. I do an extra 50% in my home games, but I'm not really using house rules in these monster melee battles. Weaknesses, he does not have any teleportation. I find that so weird that the most powerful of the demon lords cannot teleport anymore. And I would also say his AC is a bit under par for a challenge rating 26. Guys, I gotta put my bet on Orcus. I think Orcus is going to demolish Demogorgon. Something I'm noticing as I'm going through these monster melee battles is that the design philosophy in 5th edition, much like in 4th edition, is that the monsters are designed to go against a party of player characters. Like Demogorgon would be great against a party of player characters. I do find that a little bit odd. I understand why that design philosophy exists, but it is weird when I look at these things and I'm like, this is built to fight a party of characters. It's not built as who Demogorgon would actually be in that world. He has no items. He can't teleport at whatever. So let's roll initiative. I'm eager to see how this plays out. Demogorgon rolls and Orcus as well. Looks like we've got Demogorgon winning initiative, which there is a tactic that Orcus can use where it's actually kind of good for him to go second, just due to how the legendary actions work. So let's see how this fight might go fast. I think Orcus really is going to annihilate him. The two heads of Demogorgon, Aelmal and Hethrodaya, roar savage roars. He leaps down, going to engage with Orcus, coming down this ziggurat type structure. I think Demogorgon's only real hope here is to keep using that gaze, try to chew through Orcus's legendary resistances, and then get him stun locked, but I don't think he's going to have enough time to pull that off. I think Orcus is going to wipe the floor with him. They'll start with the Beguiling Gaze. That's the stun effect. Orcus rolls a wisdom save with advantage. Comes up with only a 19. That is a failure, so Orcus will spend one usage of a legendary resistance. Demogorgon then hefts one of his massive tentacles, swats it at Orcus. He has a 23 to hit. That's great. He really, as long as he doesn't roll a nat 1 or 2, then he's going to hit. And this does like force damage, I believe. All right, 25 force damage to Orcus. Just a drop in the bucket. We then go to Orcus's legendary action. For his legendary action, Orcus will use Creeping Death, a swirling area of undead, tormented, wailing souls fused with negative energy coalesce around Demogorgon. All right, he'll put that radius right there. Then we go to Orcus's turn. He'll start his turn by casting Time Stop. Going to get 1d4 plus 1 additional rounds. However, with Time Stop, as soon as you affect another creature or an object they're carrying, it does break you out. All right, he comes up with just 2 additional rounds. That's fine. That's all he really needs. He is going to use his Wand of Orcus and summon in 30 shadows. 30 undead shadows appear around Demogorgon. For the sake of convenience, I have grouped them into hordes of 10 shadows each, and I will put them into initiative there. All right, and with 2 turns worth of speed, Orcus is going to fly.
I am going to relish this moment.
He is now 80 feet above Demogorgon. He is now going to cast 3 necrotic bolts. It's not his highest 2 hit, but there are 3 of them, and they are plus 15. All right, we've got a 24. We've got a 24, a 24, and a 35. Those are all hits. All right, here is the necrotic bolt damage 3 times, and this is going to be doubled due to vulnerability to necrotic from his Creeping Death. All right, we're looking at 36 plus 32 plus 27. That's 68, 95 times 2, 190 damage to Demogorgon. All right, Demogorgon, this doesn't look good for you. All right, we now go on to, we're going to have 3 turns worth of Hordes of Shadows. I guess we should give Demogorgon his legendary action at the end of Orcus's turn. Let's see, what does Demogorgon have? He wishes he had a teleportation. He also wishes he had an area of effect. Can he dispel on the shadows? I don't think he can. It's not a spell, it's just a magic property of Orcus's wand. Guys, if I'm wrong about that, let me know in the comments and we'll do some kind of rematch. Okay, he'll use the Beguiling Gaze and try to stun Demogorgon once again. All right, Demogorgon rolls, advantage for magic resistance, nat 15, that'll do it. All right, so the shadows only have a +4 to hit. So in order to hit Demogorgon's AC of 22, they need a natural 18 or higher. I'm gonna roll 10 d20s. Any of these that land on an 18 or higher are a hit. This is like the first horde of them. All right, we only got one hit out of that. I think I can do a one-hit accrual, and then we'll roll all the damage and strength damage here in just a moment, because that's not really going to impact Demogorgon's legendary actions. He's going to try to stun Orcus 2 more times. All right, so Orcus is going to roll. I'll just roll his saves now just to get that out of the way. All right, so we've got a nat 18 and then a nat 6. That's not going to be enough. So on the the third of the legendary actions, Orcus has to spend his second legendary resistance. So he still has 1 legendary resistance left. All right, I'll go ahead and roll 20 d20s for the remaining 20 shadows and see how many other hits we can accrue. We need nat 18s or higher. We've got 3 critical hits and no regular hits. So we've got 1 regular hit and 3 critical hits total from all 30 shadows. So this is a total of 14 d6 plus 8, and then it's going to be doubled due to the necrotic vulnerability. All right, that's 73 times 2 is 146. Demogorgon is down to 128 hit points, and we shouldn't forget all of the strength damage that he is incurring here. 4d4 of strength damage. All right, his strength is reduced by 7. That brings it down from a 29 to a 22 and a plus 9 to a plus 6. So essentially he's got 3 less on his 2-hit and damage in melee. Oh, and actually Orcus gets 1 more legendary action in there. The Creeping Death only took 2 of his legendary actions. He can do 1 more Necrotic Bolt. Isn't that lovely? Here we go. Necrotic Bolt, 1 more attack from Orcus. If he hits, it's doubled. Yep, a 27 to hit will do it. And here's the Necrotic Bolt damage going to be doubled from the vulnerability. That's a total of 88. Demogorgon is going down fast. He's at a mere 40 hit points. He's at less than 10% of his hit points going into Demogorgon's turn. His gaze only affects 1 creature. You would think it could affect 2 creatures, like both of the heads gazing. But even so, he's got 30 shadows around him. What, is he going to try to stun 2 at a time? And the stun is just for 1 round. His fear spell is a really good AoE fear effect. It's like a terrified, they have to run away, but Orcus and the shadows are immune to frightened. Orcus is flying well out of his melee reach. I don't even know what he would do in this case. I think he wishes he could just leap in the air and grab a hold of Orcus to just, go down in a blaze. But that would provoke opportunity attacks from all those shadows, and that would probably kill him right then and there. So what would Demogorgon do in this situation? You're supposedly the most powerful of all demon lords in existence. You've been around since, who knows, time immemorial for millennia, and you now suddenly find yourself about to be killed within like 18 seconds of battle. He could use telekinesis on himself and like fling himself 30 feet in the air. So he'd be held up 30 feet out of the reach of the shadows. Technically that would not provoke because it's like a forced movement effect, and it would get him out of the Creeping Death aura. But then he's restrained in the air and have all the detriments of restrained. I guess that would be less bad than just sitting there getting wailed on by all those shadows. So I don't know, let's go for it. He's not within reach of Orcus, but at least he gets himself out of the reach of all those shadows. He is racked with pain. His body is weakened, sapped, drained, oozing wounds, being blackened by necrosis. We go to Orcus's turn, and the Creeping Death aura is finished.
I have dreamt of this moment for so long.
Orcus points his skull-headed wand toward Demogorgon, utters power word kill, and Demogorgon falls dead on the spot. A tremendous shudder runs through the area as his corpse falls to the ground. Did this take place in the abyss? Is he slain forever? I don't think so. So his soul is sent back to that awful, awful realm whence he came.
I am insulted by how trivial of an opponent you were. Unworthy.
Orcus, I gave you the title of most evil demon lord in existence in my most evil demon ranking, and I will now have to give you the award of most powerful demon lord in existence per this fight. I don't know, there might be someone who could rival Orcus. Who do you think it could be? If you have an idea of a different demon lord that you think could take Orcus down, let me know in a comment. Thanks everyone for watching. This was a very quick battle. Look forward to the next one. I've got a whole bunch of really cool ideas for these. And until next time, may your adventures be many.